She called the cops on me, right there on my own land, said I was trespassing on her mountain. But when the officers showed up, they didn't just find out who really owned the property. They found out who she really was. My name's Devin Randall, 44 years old, born and raised in North Carolina. My family's cabin sits halfway up a ridge that smells like pine and rain, a place my grandfather built with his own hands back in the 50s. He was a veteran who came home, carved a life out of the woods, and told my dad, land is the only thing they can't take from you if you hold your ground. I hadn't been back in years. City life ate me up traffic noise bills. So when Dad passed, I promised myself I'd spend a week up there, clean it up, fix the roof, maybe reconnect with something real. The drive up was perfect. Fall colors burning through the trees, air crisp, not a sound, but my tires crunching gravel. The moment I saw that old porch, I swear it felt like the mountain itself exhaled. Everything looked smaller but exactly the same. The rusted roof, the creaky swing, even the initials carved into the beam, DR plus SR, my dad and me. I unpacked, started a fire, opened a beer, and just breathed. No phones, no city, just peace. Then headlights cut through the window. A silver SUV crawled up the path, too polished to belong out there. It stopped right by the mailbox. The door opened, and out stepped a woman in her 50s. Platinum hair, blazer, clipboard, clutched like a weapon. She scanned the yard like she was inspecting a crime scene. "Excuse me," she called, walking toward me. "You can't be here." I blinked. "Come again." "This is Ridgeway Estates," she said sharply. "Private property. I'm the HOA president. You're trespassing." I laughed, thinking it was a misunderstanding. "Ma'am, this cabin's been here since before your HOA existed. I'm Devin Randall. My family owns this land." She raised a brow. "Do you have proof of that?" "I do," I said slowly, but I didn't think I'd need to carry my deed to sit on my own porch. She didn't smile. "You people think you can just move up here, build illegal structures, and call it history. But rules are rules." "You people?" I asked. She stuttered slightly, then said, "Homeowners, outsiders, whatever you want to call it." I took a breath, trying to keep my voice level. "Lady, I'm not some tourist with a tent. My grandfather built this cabin in 1952. My family paid taxes here every year. You can look it up." But she didn't care. She started circling my truck, taking photos with her phone like she was collecting evidence. "Unregistered vehicle," she muttered. "Improper dwelling. Fire hazard. I'll have to report all this." That's when I realized this wasn't about property lines. It was about control. "I'd appreciate it if you left," I said. Instead, she pulled out her phone. "Fine. I'm calling the sheriff. You'll explain it to them." I just stood there dumbfounded, listening as she told dispatch that there was a suspicious man squatting in a restricted cabin. Something in me cracked. Then not anger exactly, but disbelief. I looked around at the trees, the same ones I used to climb as a kid, and thought, how the hell did we get here? While she was on the phone, I grabbed a folder from my bag, old deeds, tax slips, even a photo of my grandfather standing in front of the same porch. When she hung up, I handed them to her. "Here. Proof." She didn't look, just waved me off and said anyone can fake papers. I stared at her, feeling my patience fade. "What exactly do you think I'm doing here?" She smiled, thin and cruel. "Trying to claim what's not yours. Happens all the time." By the time the sheriff's SUVs rolled up, twilight had fallen. Red and blue lights splashed across the trees. I stood on the porch, hands in sight, because I already knew how this looked. 2 deputies stepped out, one older, one younger. The older one, gray mustache, calm eyes, asked, "Evening, sir. You the one who called?" Before I could answer, she rushed forward. "I did. That man broke into this cabin. He's been here all day. He's threatening me. Says it's his property." The deputy turned to me. "Sir, is that true?" I nodded. "Half true. I've been here all day, yes. It's my cabin. My name's Devin Randall. Here's the deed, tax receipts, and family history if you'd like to see them." I handed over the folder. He flipped through it carefully. Meanwhile, she wouldn't shut up. "He's lying. Look at him. He doesn't even live here. I oversee this ridge. That cabin violates every HOA regulation. He's making it unsafe for the community." The deputy looked up, patient but firm. "Ma'am, this cabin's listed in county records as independent property. It's outside HOA jurisdiction." Her voice rose a pitch. "That can't be right. I oversee all of Ridgeway Mountain." He tilted his head. "All of it. You own the mountain." "I manage it," she barked. He sighed. Ma'am, managing and owning aren't the same thing. That should have been the end of it, but she wasn't done. She crossed her arms, glaring at me. I don't care what paperwork he shows you. People like him come up here all the time claiming land that isn't theirs. And that was it. The mask dropped. The younger deputy froze. The older one stared at her for a long moment before saying, "Ma'am, I suggest you lower your tone before this becomes something else entirely." She tried to recover. "I didn't mean it like that." He cut her off. That's not what it sounded like. I could feel my pulse in my throat. I wasn't scared exactly, just tired. Tired of moments like this where even with every document in the world I still had to prove I belonged. When they walked the perimeter, I sat on the porch steps watching my breath in the cold. For the first time in years, I doubted whether coming back here was worth it. Maybe I should have just sold the place, let it rot. Maybe my dad was wrong. Maybe holding your ground just gets you hurt. Then I saw the photo in my lap, my father as a young man smiling in front of the same porch. Behind him, my grandfather holding a hammer covered in sawdust. They'd fought their own battles for this land, the kind that didn't make headlines but left scars all the same. And I realized, no, I wasn't leaving. The deputies came back after a while. The older one said, "Mr. Randall, your paperwork checks out perfectly. She's got no jurisdiction up here." I nodded. I figured as much. He turned to her. "Ma'am, if you continue to harass this man, we'll have to take further action. This is private property, his property. You're trespassing now." She sputtered, "That's ridiculous. You're taking his side." The younger deputy said, "We're taking the side of the law." She looked around like she couldn't process it, her authority slipping through her fingers. By then, a few neighbors had driven up the ridge headlights, cutting through the dark. I heard one of them call out, "Everything okay up here?" She jumped at the chance to save face. "This man's trying to claim the old cabin." A middle-aged man stepped out of his truck. "You mean the Randall place? That cabin's been here longer than you've been alive, Margot." More cars stopped. Word spread fast on the mountain. In minutes, half the ridge was there, some curious, some frustrated, all watching. The deputy held up a hand. "Folks, everything's under control. No laws broken, just a misunderstanding." But Margot couldn't help herself. Without me, this whole mountain would fall apart. People like him move in ruin. The standards, the beauty, I stood up. "Standards," I said quietly. "You think my family's the problem? My grandfather built this cabin with his bare hands before your HOA even existed. My father paid every tax, fixed every storm leak, took care of this land when nobody else would. You talk about standards, but you wouldn't last a week without someone like him paving the way." The clearing went still. Even the wind seemed to stop. Margot's lips trembled. "You don't talk to me like that." The older deputy said he just did. She turned furious, face red. "You'll regret this. You can't just come up here and act like you own the place." I met her eyes. "I don't act like it, ma'am. I just do." She stormed off, heels crunching gravel, muttering into her phone. The deputies watched her leave, then turned back to me. "You handled that better than most," the older one said. "Good thing you kept your paperwork." "Guess my dad was right," I said softly. "Never throw away proof of what's yours." They left soon after. The neighbors started heading home too. One man paused before driving off and said, "Don't let her scare you off, son. You've got roots deeper than hers." When the last car disappeared down the road, I sat on the porch again. The fire inside flickered through the windows, lighting up the old wood. I set the folder of documents on the step beside me and looked at that photo again, Dad and Grandpa smiling, standing where I was now. "I held my ground, Dad," I whispered. The night settled back into silence. No headlights, no shouting, no false authority, just the mountain quiet and steady. And somewhere out there, Margot was probably typing up her next complaint, still pretending she owned the world. But up here, the land finally felt like mine again. Because you don't have to shout to prove you belong. Sometimes the strongest voice is the one that simply stands its ground.